From unique and diverse gameplay to an iconic and pleasing aesthetic, there are many things that make TF2 a special game. But one that's often overlooked is how TF2 allows the players to express their individual personalities through its game mechanics, to the point that anyone can craft an unique and customized experience with the game. In a world of pre-made experiences and closed ecosystems, TF2's flexibility truly is something to be glad for, and that's the topic of today's video. But before we talk about that, I'd like to mention we've recently reached 1000 subscribers. Thank you so much for showing interest on my content. To celebrate, I'm planning on doing a live stream so we can play and chat together. Pinned in the comments section, you'll find a link to a Google form in which you can answer what live stream schedule would be better for you. So give it a look, and again, thank you very much for your support. Most games nowadays offer some sort of customization option to the player. Cosmetic items and skins are nothing new to the gaming industry. However, usually those options come with some limitations. For instance, on Overwatch, a game that's usually compared to TF2 for multiple reasons, you can customize your looks with pre-made character skins, some of which look great, to be quite honest. A few updates ago, CSGO has started to offer the same thing, complete character skins for the player to use on matches. That approach, however, is very limited, because it doesn't allow you to mix and match to create something uniquely yours. You are stuck with whatever the game developers have put together for you to choose. And because of that, it doesn't serve the purpose of representing your individual identity in the game, because you can bet there will be thousands of other players using the same skins as you. You can't look at a particular Overwatch or CSGO skin and immediately recognize its user. And that's where TF2 shines. Because of the loadout system, you can pick individual cosmetic pieces and combine them as you please, allowing for an infinitude of possible combinations. That way, it is a lot more feasible to come up with a combination that's uniquely yours, especially when you consider the amount of cosmetics already in the game and the possibility of using unusual effects and paints to further distinguish yourself. That's why so many TF2 YouTubers have managed to develop their signature looks. You rarely see that sort of thing happening in other games. Particularly for those wearing high-tier unusual effects, it is even hard for the common player to impersonate them, and sometimes you can be sure that you are playing with a non-community figure just by looking at their loadout. And that feature is very important to the game, in my opinion. The more you can insert yourself personally into a game, the more it will become part of your social experience. People from the same region can start recognizing each other in matches and develop connections that way. This way, the game is capable of conveying how you are playing against other people, against individuals who all have their unique preferences and styles. Playing with that guy who has the quirky and weird loadout makes for a more humane and interesting experience than just playing with generic pre-made skins. And the same can be said about weapon combinations. In TF2 you can craft your playstyle and vary your possibilities by mixing and matching weapons. By doing that, you can keep the game interesting and fresh for longer, and when eventually an update is shipped, it is always interesting to check weapon changes and try out different strategies. That's something you can do to an extent in CSGO, because despite the game having a weapon loadout system, it has a more fixed meta, but you absolutely can't do in games like Overwatch, in which characters have fixed playstyles and abilities. And I don't really know of many games popular nowadays that completely allow you to create a personal weapon loadout like TF2 does. Now there are caveats to all that freedom. Allowing players to mix and match cosmetics really breaks the game's aesthetic. And the weapon loadout system makes it harder to balance classes and weapons, because you have to consider multiple weapon combinations to decide on what balancing is best. It is no surprise that most modern games don't allow such flexibility. It must be a pain for game developers. But for us players, it makes the experience of playing uniquely ours and, as I mentioned previously, creates a more humane environment for social interaction in the community. And it doesn't end there for TF2, because if you can't find a cosmetic to your liking, you can make one. That's exactly what I did. I wanted an all-class samurai hat, and so I modeled one for me. It's on the workshop right now for you to check it out. I know I'll be using it whenever I can, and although it won't work on official matchmaking servers, there are plenty of community servers who allow you to run mods like this. Oh, and by the way, I'm working on a tutorial about modeling hats for TF2, so keep an eye out for that here in the channel if you find it interesting. In conclusion, I find TF2 special because you can really express yourself through the game's mechanics and aesthetic, and that should not be overlooked because it is a core mechanic that helps distinguish it from other games. So next time you are thinking about a new cosmetic loadout or weapon combination, remember to be yourself and try out whatever suits your mood. You're free to do that in Team Fortress 2. And what do you think about this topic? Do you also find the loadout system in TF2 to be very engaging? Do you think it would be better to have less freedom when mixing and matching cosmetics and weapons? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested in knowing your opinion on this. Don't forget to like and share the video and subscribe so you don't miss my future uploads. See you next time and bye bye!